Cinderella, a bedtime fairy tale once, in a distant kingdom long ago. There lived a gentle and lovely young girl named Cinderella. She had lost her mother many years earlier, so her father had raised her with great love and care. But everything changed the day her father remarried. His new wife moved into their home, bringing along her two daughters. From the very moment they met, the stepmother's eyes narrowed with dislike toward Cinderella. She and her daughters could not bear the girl's natural beauty or her warm, kind heart. The stepsisters, unlike Cinderella, were neither graceful nor gentle. They were spoiled, selfish, and unkind. Still, Cinderella tried her best to be polite. One day, her father announced that work would take him far away on a long journey. The moment he left, the stepmother revealed her true cruelty. She ordered Cinderella to leave her bedroom and move into the cold, dusty attic. From then on, Cinderella was given every chore in the house: sweeping floors, scrubbing dishes, washing laundry, and mending clothes. No matter how hard she worked, her stepmother and stepsisters always found something to complain about. Her only comfort came from the little birds in the garden and the friendly mice who lived nearby. At night, when the house grew cold, she would quietly creep down to the fireplace and warm herself by the fading embers until she drifted off to sleep. One morning, news swept through the town. A royal announcement declared that the prince would host a grand ball at the castle. Every young woman in the land was invited, for the prince was seeking a bride. The stepsisters were thrilled. "We will be the most beautiful ladies there," they squealed. Their mother beamed with pride. "Yes, my daughters, the prince will surely choose one of you." The next days were filled with preparations. New gowns were sewn, ribbons chosen, and shoes polished. Each afternoon, the stepsisters admired themselves in the mirror, dreaming of the palace. At last, the evening of the ball arrived. Cinderella worked tirelessly all day, helping her stepsisters bathe, style their hair, and fasten their gowns. "Careful," one snapped. "You'll pull my hair out." When everything was ready, Cinderella timidly asked, "May I come to the ball as well?" Her stepmother turned to her with a mocking laugh. "You, in that old dress, the prince seeks a bride, not a maid." Without another word, she ushered her daughters out the door, leaving Cinderella behind. Alone in the quiet house, Cinderella's heart sank. She sat and cried softly. "If only my parents were here. I wish I could go, just once." Then, from the corner of the room, a soft shimmering glow began to grow brighter and brighter. Before her astonished eyes, a kind-faced fairy appeared, her gown sparkling like moonlight. "My dear Cinderella," the fairy said warmly, "why are you weeping?" Cinderella explained her wish. The fairy smiled. "Then you shall go to the ball. But first, bring me a pumpkin from the garden and 7 mice from your attic friends." Though puzzled, Cinderella obeyed. She rolled a large pumpkin to the fairy and gently gathered 7 mice. With a wave of her wand, the fairy transformed the pumpkin into a dazzling golden carriage. One mouse became a smartly dressed coachman, and the others turned into sleek white horses. Finally, the fairy touched Cinderella's worn dress, and it changed into the most stunning gown she had ever seen, shimmering with delicate embroidery. On her feet appeared two sparkling glass slippers that fit her perfectly. "Oh, I look like a princess," Cinderella whispered. "Indeed," the fairy chuckled. "But remember, when the clock strikes midnight, the magic will fade, and everything will return to what it was. Be sure you are home before then." Cinderella promised, climbed into the carriage, and set off for the castle. The grand ballroom glittered with light when she arrived. All eyes turned to the mysterious beauty stepping through the doors. Even her stepmother and stepsisters stared, failing to recognize her. At that moment, the prince descended the staircase. Among all the young women in the hall, his gaze fixed instantly on Cinderella. With a graceful bow, he approached her. "Most enchanting lady," he said, "will you honor me with this dance?" Cinderella smiled shyly and placed her hand in his. They began to dance, moving as if no one else existed. Song after song played, and they stayed together, talking and laughing. Time passed unnoticed until Cinderella caught sight of the great clock. It was nearly midnight. She gasped, "I must go." Without explanation, she ran from the ballroom. The prince followed, calling for her to wait. On the grand staircase, one of her glass slippers slipped from her foot, but she dared not stop. As she reached the gates, the clock struck 12. In an instant, her gown faded back into rags. The carriage became a pumpkin again, and the horses turned back into mice. Breathless, she hurried home. The prince, finding only the delicate glass slipper, vowed, "I will search every corner of the kingdom to find the woman who fits this shoe." Days later, the royal messengers arrived at Cinderella's home. Before she could greet them, her stepmother locked her in the attic. "Stay here, you foolish girl," she sneered. Downstairs, the stepsisters tried the slipper. One's foot was too long, the other's too wide. No matter how they pushed or twisted, the shoe would not fit. Meanwhile, Cinderella's mice friends spotted the key in the stepmother's pocket. Working together, they pulled it free and scurried upstairs, slipping it under the attic door. Cinderella unlocked the door and raced down. "Please, may I try the slipper?" she asked breathlessly. Her stepmother laughed. "Don't waste their time." But the prince's man replied firmly, "It is His Highness's command that every young woman must try." Cinderella slipped her foot into the shoe and it fit perfectly. From her pocket, she drew out the matching slipper. Gasps filled the room. She was taken at once to the castle, where the prince recognized her immediately. Taking her hands, he said, "At last, I've found you. Will you be my bride?" Tears of joy filled her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. And so, Cinderella and the prince were married in a grand celebration, living happily ever after in kindness and love.